Hey guys, me again. Wanted to make a short video, tell you about my experience yesterday. I wrote it, and it is dangerous at present. I got the battery mounted in there. The wiring is just fine. I actually actuated. I put the throttle cable on it and actuated it with my fingers. No brakes, of course, not yet. But there's a couple problems. I did get the tank from the mower moved back. I had to shave this part off, and you can see it's connected, but I had to do a little cutting in there as well to make it fit, but it fits just fine. So I'll end up using that. I will change the gas line or the fuel line, and I'll probably make a small little plate that mounts here to hold it down, or maybe some clamps or something. My end goal is to be able to recondition the original fuel tank, which is really rusted out right now. All of the electronics are on here. So I think I am going to try to end up using the dash and maybe cut it and mount it up here, so I can have the original fuel level. And then when I put the scooter front ends on this thing, I'll be able to tie in the speedometer cable too. So I should have the speedometer and fuel level if I can use the original tank. And I think I've got it over there, emptying out and open so it'll dry out. And then I'm going to have to take it to a shop to get it internally reconditioned. But my problem with this is it is flexy. Very, very seriously flexy. I made this bracket. This used to be the seat bracket. It was mounted upside down, but it was one of the two seat brackets that was mounted with this. And actually, I think that bracket held this on. It was mounted on here. Excuse me, not the seat bracket. It was mounted on that section back there to lift that up and stabilize it against the frame, which you can see these tabs and this bolt hole. It flipped it over and that bolt went in there and the tab went in right there. But the problem is this section of frame, all of this frame twists, the whole thing. I did manage to flip. Originally there was a section, this right where you see that bolt, there was a drop down. It was a flat beam that came across all the way and it dropped down, and it had a hole on this side and a hole on that side to connect the original mower deck on this one. Well, what I did was I took that off. It's pretty thick, almost a quarter of an inch. And I cut those mounting tabs off. I flipped it over and ground it down and a little bit so it would stabilize this. So instead of having like 2 inches of travel, it's now got like a ½ inch side to side, maybe an inch overall travel. I'm still going to make that solid. I am going to build a complete suspension system for it, but I wanted to do something to test it yesterday. So with that done, I fired it up. I got the fuel tank mounted and tubed in, and put the battery in from the mower and fired it up. And I still had some carburetor tuning to do. Matter of fact, I got junk from this tank in the carburetor, which caused problems. I didn't have a filter in it because I was trying to get it together. So I got to pull the carburetor off, clean the float pin and junk out of the carburetor, and clean that fuel tank, and then get a filter in the line. But this frame, I found that with any shift, even that little shift from the front, this whole thing would twist probably 5 degrees either way. So I probably got a good 10 to 15 degrees with the roll from the front, probably a good 10 to 15 degrees of roll overall in this chassis. And the problem is that when this tire rolls back here, it pushes in the opposite direction of whatever direction it rolls. If it rolls this way, it pushes that way. If it rolls that way, it pushes this way. And it made this thing very, very unstable because of the narrow front end. Did have an almost tip over, and a number of Well, I had one tire of the other come up off the ground a couple of times, and one I had to stop because it was just I let off the gas because it almost rolled on me, and it was when I was turning. So it is dangerous at the moment. It does run, and I may get my wife's help to make a short video of me riding this around the yard out here to show you that it does run. But there's a few other things that I'm going to have to address and adjust. And one of them is I'm probably not going to be able to use the wheelbarrow. It's going to be too high for this thing overall. It already has rolling issues, stability issues, so I'm probably going to end up just using the lawnmower seat that I have, which I've got sitting on the front. And I actually thought about making a spot to sit up there for like my daughter or something later on, but we'll see what happens with that. I have other plans for that, but that's a secondary plan. So I'll probably end up using that seat back here. I can't drop this any lower than it is right now because I am going to have the battery and a small toolkit, maybe a toolkit, but I've got a lot more work to do in here. I'm going to try to build an internal frame that runs along the entirety of this frame from here all the way up, and I think I'm going to use some probably I was thinking about just trying to stabilize a short section, but with the amount of twist this thing has overall, I'm probably going to use like a 2-inch by 1/4 inch angle iron and literally run it from the entirety, from the back all the way up. And the only part that I'll notch will be right back here where it goes inside to miss the mounts that I put in for the support back here. But if I build a box frame for the entire thing, you know, up, across, and down, and then run that angle iron all the way down to the front end, having the angle come down and go in, and then put a couple of cross braces inside there, I think that should give me the stability I need so I can make this function. Right now, whew, it is dangerous. It runs, and it would be fun where I'd have all the controls installed, so I didn't have to worry about trying to pull the throttle with my fingers and not have any brakes. It might be a little bit more interesting, especially if the front was completely stable. But yeah, it's just it's dangerous at present, so I won't be doing that for a while until I get this thing done, and that means I've got to take some time next month to try to find the money to buy the stuff that I need. Once I get the angle iron, cutting it and welding it and building a frame for all of this, that's nothing. I'll just disassemble the back end, get the frame welded together, flip this thing over, and weld it all together and put it in, and then I'll put this back on and drill all the holes through the angle iron to get it all mounted, and we should be good to go, hopefully, if everything works out. So that's where we are now. And a couple things that I can do while I'm getting ready to do all that is go ahead and get my controls set out. I'm trying, get the controls set out and try to get the key switch mounted. And right now I could just weld on a handle or a bar to use the original motorcycle throttle, because I don't have the foot feed to do that with. But we'll see. I may actually try to tie it in with the original lawnmower throttle. If I can do that, then that would at least be something. That, and I may try to tie in the brake, the rear brake, because it does have rear brakes on it right now. I may try to tie in the rear brake temporarily to the hand lever here. If I can do that, then it'll at least give me some kind of brakes until I can get the front end done, and then which time this will actually be used to operate the kickstand, and I will get the foot feed for both sides eventually and get the brakes and the gas hooked up to that. Alright guys, that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in. As soon as I get anything else taken care of, I'll make another video and let y'all know. But it's going to be a little bit. I've got a lot of other stuff that I have to do, so we'll see how it goes. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See y'all later.